Part 1, Phinehas and the sin at Shittim. Parashat Pinchas. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, has turned my wrath away from the children of Israel by his zeal for me among them, so that I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. Therefore, say, Behold, I give to him my covenant of peace. The story of Phinehas is recalled in our parasha, even though the actual event took place in the previous one. Essentially, there was a deterioration in the relationship between the children of Israel and the daughters of Moab. The people began to commit harlotry with the daughters of Moab. They invited the people to the sacrifices of their gods, and the people ate and bowed down to their gods. So Israel joined themselves to Baal Peor. That is to say, there is a connection here that begins with the daughters, then the sacrifices to their gods, then they go and bow down to their gods, and finally, they cling to Baal Peor. Then, after Moses our teacher is commanded to execute, meaning to kill, all those who worshipped idols and the sinners, a man from the children of Israel, a prince of the tribe of Simeon, comes and sins in the sight of 24,000 men, the men of his tribe who were guarding him. Phinehas comes and takes action, killing Zimri and the woman with whom he sinned, and afterward, 24,000 men of the children of Israel die in the plague. To put this in perspective, 24,000 men is roughly the number of casualties in Israel's wars over the last 100 years, and this happened in one day, in a moment of such terrible sin. And that is not all, for our parasha opens with the verse, Phinehas, son of Eleazar, turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, and I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal. In other words, if not for Phinehas, the people of Israel would not exist today. Part 2, the sin of all Israel and the weeping. We must understand, why was a decree of annihilation issued against the children of Israel? After all, ostensibly, this was a sin committed by a few specific people, perhaps thousands. Why the whole people of Israel? And what did Phinehas do that he deserves, as a single individual, to save the entire people of Israel? How could it be that the Holy One, blessed be he, swore to our father Abraham that he would give this land to his seed, and suddenly, a decree of annihilation? Why was Zimri's sin considered a flaw of all Israel and stirred divine wrath upon all of Israel until a decree of annihilation was passed, heaven forbid? And if all of Israel sinned, how is it possible that the action of one person could serve to save all of Israel? The matter is that the sin of the entire people of Israel was regarding the acknowledgement of the sin. It is known from the fundamentals of repentance, that more than the sin itself, when it weighs upon the conscience, if at the time of repentance one does not feel the magnitude of the sin and what one has blemished by their actions, it is more severe than the sin itself. For now, they are already in their right mind and not under the influence of their evil inclination. That is to say, there are moments of turmoil, but there is also a time for repentance. A person sits comfortably in the air conditioning and thinks about what they did, and if now you do not understand the magnitude of the severity of what you did, I have a side that says it is more severe, because the desire no longer exists. Our sages say, there is no abomination before the Holy One, blessed be he, like one who engages in relations with a Gentile woman. The Netavo Shalom explains, he is like a soldier who received a secret weapon and goes and hands it over to the enemy, which is truly an act of treason, and therefore, the zealous strike him. I will explain the nuance a bit. Regarding this matter of one who lives with a Gentile woman, the law is very remarkable. In the Book of Laws, it is impossible to bring this man to judgment, that is, there are many sins that a person commits where they stand trial and are punished. Severity. One who lives with a Gentile woman, it is impossible to judge him in a court of law. It is only possible during the act to rise up and kill him. So, on one hand, the sages say, there is no abomination before the Holy One, blessed be he, like one who engages with a Gentile woman. Why? You took the power of holiness and handed it over to the forces of impurity of the world. On the other hand, the law says, only the zealous strike him during the act, it is permitted to kill him, afterwards, that is it is no longer possible. And the elders are weeping, and this law was hidden from them. It is written in the verse, and behold, a man of the children of Israel came and brought a Midianite woman to his brethren, and they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting. That is to say, there is weeping in the people of Israel. Weeping is great sorrow, but weeping is often paralysis, a lack of action. If the elders are weeping in this law, that the zealous strike him immediately, was hidden from them. We will see this in the Midrash. It means that the recognition of the magnitude of the sin's severity was hidden from them, and this indifference is the severe part, and it is what caused the decree of annihilation, heaven forbid, upon all of Israel. That is to say, we see that a serious transgression was committed and they do not remember what they are supposed to do, what the law is, what to do, and then they weep. Part 3. Action versus weeping. Now, further on, we will see the asterisk Meselat Yesharim, where he says something similar. A young man, sits on the street on the sidewalk and cries. They say to him, they ask him, "Why are you crying?" "What, don't you see that they are hitting my father in the back?" Someone is hitting his father, and the young man sits on the sidewalk and cries. He says, "What pain, someone is hitting my father. Pain, run, get up, hit back, save him, do something." The lack of action here is terrible. In a video someone sent me, regarding this dilemma of yours, he pauses 1 minute of the video, deviates from the rule, a minute in Shazar. Every person should keep a notebook in their pocket, every rabbi you hear, write it down, Moses on the street, David Sarah, write it down, call, contact. Am I joking with you? Why didn't I understand? If someone falls on the floor here, water, you don't approach to pick him up. He says, "I am not Megan David Adam, ambulance paramedics." Do you pick him up or not? Why is someone stabbing him? Why didn't he fall? What do you see a child like that at home? This is not the destruction of the first and second temple. In a person's home there is destruction. In a person's home a destruction was received. 2 destructions in the temple, thousands of such destructions. I don't forget once they pushed everyone. You don't know from women of valor. It doesn't matter, the main thing is that you are open. Why are you Megan David Adam? Are you an expert? So why did I make a point of this? Because a person does not need to be a paramedic to run and help someone. So sometimes there are such moments where you are supposed to do something, and a person cries. What are you crying for? The weeping here is not a cure, the weeping here turns out to be a disease. And therefore, there is a harsh decree upon all the people of Israel. Part 4. The correction of Phinehas and the attribute of zeal. How does Phinehas save the people of Israel? Phinehas took a spear, Romic *, the letters of which spell Ramach 248, meaning he took himself with all 248 limbs, and by giving his whole body and all his 248 limbs with self-sacrifice, there was already a correction for the flaw. And by his zeal for the Lord, he ignited a fire of holiness in the magnitude of acknowledging the sin among all Israel. There are situations where people do not object, but they are, when someone arrives with full passion, full holiness, full self-sacrifice, full heroism, he connects, he creates a conflagration among all the people of Israel. But sometimes it is impossible to know the reason, that is, this burning, only the actor, only the zealot knows where it comes from. True, sometimes his reasons are something else. Excellent, indeed, zeal is not a simple attribute. I debate in a lecture, excellent, why yes to zeal, a good lecture, why not to zeal, but one cannot say why not before learning why yes. And today we will only learn why yes. And in the Haftarah, not this year, but in the Haftarah when Parashat Pinchas comes out, and it is not during the 3 weeks, we read about Elijah, and Elijah, who returned as Phinehas, who is Elijah, lost his nursing authority in the end because of the zeal. In the end, regarding the zeal of Phinehas, the Holy One, blessed be he, rebukes him and dismisses him temporarily. Everything requires clarification. But today we will talk about why yes, what the process of Phinehas is, and we will not only learn about Phinehas but also learn about the strengths of soul that a person needs when they act. There are situations where a person needs to muster strengths of soul without too many calculations. Calculations that are too complex or problematic. As Rabbi Rosenblum described, when you see someone falling, you don't start saying, "I am a paramedic, I am not a paramedic." When you have a need to express a strong statement, there are such situations where one must not be too calculated. This is the time for those who, and also those who went out on Simchat Torah without calculation, right? And also the knives, that a person who acts out of zeal for the sake of heaven, don't play too much, right? This is what I said, Phinehas, the sages in the end criticize him, but here we will talk about the fact that without Phinehas, there would be no people of Israel, that is, there are such moments. Part 5. Q&A on leadership and zeal. The sages say that if not for the zeal, yes, you are asking a good question, we do not know how to hold all the calculations of the Holy One, blessed be He, but here it is written such a verse. The Holy One, blessed be He, says, and I did not consume the children of Israel in my zeal, if not for Phinehas, I would have consumed the people of Israel. Could it be that one also during the time of the golden calf? As the division, right, Moses said to him, okay. Right, so there Moses our teacher prayed. Here, Moses our teacher, speak about this later, how could it be that Moses our teacher did nothing? Forget the people of Israel, how could Moses our teacher do nothing? We will speak about this, Safat Emet, later on. Okay, now something, listen, we live in days where the value is raised very high in certain situations. I ask myself, and I heard about a certain 100, besides the second, not what is clear, but how do I say the talk? Enough, you are crossing the line, who cares about me? That is to say, how do I sound this clear voice that you are crossing the line, like what is this and that, what is this, rebels? Golgol, Gallo, she said that she isn't walking right, do you know how to compare the, no, to the involvement? Meaning, right involvement, something that exists. I will say, something, but I want to say something that is correct, a very good question. Where to speak, where not to speak, where is it right to intervene? Here he said the mock, I understood that this is something before saying, take all the reactions, where is it right to intervene and where is it not right to intervene? I think it means not only personally, but how do I go out to the people of Israel on Facebook for example, a video, and cry out this cry, would anyone even react to it? But there is a point that, there is a commandment to say something that will be heard and not to say something that will not be heard, right. But I will ask like this is true, this is the sentence that we are like looking at before our eyes. On the other hand, I say, if Phinehas were here today and he would say, it is clear that my words are not heard, after all, everyone is against me, I am the only one, and he was, right, and he merited to save the people of Israel. So where is the border line of to speak or not to speak? To protest or not to protest? This is hard, a hard question. Part 6, the heroic story of an IDF general. And also when a person does something, only after a person acts will the results say, ah, indeed he did the right thing, he acted for the sake of the people of Israel, which happens, right. Also on Simchat Torah which you mentioned, when they know to say about ex-soldiers who entered battle and were killed. In situations, someone was wise, there was one general, Yossi, in a very special harvest, exactly on the eve of Rosh Hashanah 3 years ago. Eliyahu Yuvan, who was the head of the council, so Eliyahu showed me that he was sending him a blessing for Rosh Hashanah and he said to him, this is your time to build the land, build neighborhoods, the foundation of 4. I said, which general in the IDF writes such sentences? Later it turned out that his son returned to religion, his son married the granddaughter of Rabbi Lior, and this general, we were at the wedding, what a wedding. And this general, in the morning, woke up on the morning of Simchat Torah, he went out as a general in the IDF, ran to help a friend who said there was firing in the moshav, it sounded imaginary to him. He clung to the fence, he woke up in the morning, said something else that Hamas said to him. You were in the conception, he said. I was deep in the concept, I didn't think anything in such a direction. And then they almost took him down, and he was a combat battalion commander, when he was in the paratroopers, commander of the paratrooper reconnaissance unit, a story that in an encounter in Lebanon he reached a terrorist at a contact point, bit the terrorist's ear, he was a very brave man. And then he finds with him another veteran combatant of the paratroopers, about 70 and he is about 60, they go to the house, of the kindergarten teacher from Bayeri, she is 97 with her Filipino caregiver, at home they find in her garden a washing machine and dryer, and bushes making a fixed position there, and he says, I understood that going out against the terrorists now is suicide without the force of a team that gives covering fire, holding a static fixed position. And from that position he eliminated about 15 terrorists that same day. Every terrorist who was with him, where does it come from? They had, already reached the last bullet, they saved a bullet for him, a bullet for his friend, and then guys from Maglan came and gave him more magazines. He stayed in his position. There is that video on YouTube of his, on YouTube, a story so amazing that sometimes a person needs to know that now the right thing is to stop. It is like, this is a story that must be. Part 7, the Gemara in Sanhedrin. But, really, we only started, we are in the introduction to the lesson. Good, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, page 82a, something very beautiful. The sign to remember which page it is, page 82a, is an acronym, Phinehas son of Eleazar. The Gemara tells such a story, Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the world, that everything is created by his word, Amen. And Moses said to the judges of Israel, the tribe of Simeon went to Zimri son of Salu, they said to him, there is no judging of capital cases and you stay silent. Here it is written that essentially the tribe of Simeon goes to the president of their tribe, saying, they are starting to judge us, idolatry, allegories, what will she do? Save us. He stood up and gathered 24,000 from Israel. To understand the numbers, 24,000 from Israel is without a rabbi, 3 out of 4, this is the number of people standing around him, he is walking around, the whole story that will be now, that around him are 24,000 people, which are numbers that we are not at all imagining in terms of the movement of forces. And he went to Cosby, said to her, serve me. She said to him, I am a king's daughter, and so my father commanded me, serve only the greatest among them, she has a mission to bring down the number one in the people of Israel. He said to her, even here, he is a tribe president, excuse me, I am also a president, and not only that, but he is greater than him because he is second to the belly and he is third to the belly. Moses and Aaron are from the tribe of Levi, I am from the tribe of Simeon, the tribe of Simeon precedes the tribe of Levi, I am more important than him. He grabbed her by her hair and brought her to Moses, he does not ask him for the law, in the air he grabs the Gentile woman and brings her before Moses our teacher, said to him, son of Amram, which is also an expression of such insolence, is this forbidden or permitted, holding the Gentile woman before him, and if you say it is forbidden, just dare to say tell me it is forbidden, Jethro, who are you afraid of? Why didn't you marry someone with such insolence? After all, Moses our teacher married the daughter of Jethro before the giving of the Torah, and the story of Cosby and Zor is after the giving of the Torah, not relevant at all, this did not happen at all. But the insolence with which he does things, and then the law was hidden from him. Now I don't know what to say. Part 8, the action of Phinehas and the miracles. They all wept and crying, and it is written, and they were weeping at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and it is written, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, saw. What did he see? The rabbi said, he saw an action and remembered the law. He said to him, brother of my father's father, Phinehas addresses Moses our teacher, says to him, you are the brother of my grandfather, brother of the grandfather, did you not teach me in your covenant at Mount Sinai, the one who cohabits with a Gentile woman, the zealous strike him. What, are you giving me orders? He said to him, he who read the letter is the one who will act as the courier, he who said the law will implement it. He drew a sword, and it rested in its sheath. Phinehas took a knife, or a spear, and the spear is an arrowhead that sits on a stick. He took off the sharp part of the spear, put it in the bag, and he holds a walking stick in his hand. As soon as he arrived at the tribe of Simeon, essentially 24,000 people are surrounding Zimri, not letting anyone get close, the moment of the crying ones. No, the crying ones were the elders, Moses our teacher. They said, as soon as he arrived at the tribe of Simeon he said, therefore we found that my tribe is greater than that of Simeon, the meaning is, excuse me, I am privileged, I am related to the nursing of the people of Israel, I am related to prophecy, to priesthood, I am more important than the tribe of Simeon, they said, let him do it. He entered, the Pharisees permitted the matter, that is to say, the tribe of Simeon understands that Phinehas wants to maneuver, he also said, let's make him a passage, and then he enters into 24,000 people, he goes to strike Zimri, when he essentially knows that the moment he does something to Zimri, they will cut him to pieces. Rabbi Yochanan said, 6 miracles were performed for Phinehas. And one that came, he went and raised the lintel, that is, after he stabbed Zimri and Cosby he needed to take them out through the door, now he needs to lower the spear, good, he only returned to catch them, 150 people, 150 kilos on a spear, now you need to lower them, they say to fall because it is a tent, what did the Holy One, blessed be he, do? He raised the tent, raised the lintel. And one that came, an angel, and destroyed in the people in those moments so that they would be busy and could not approach him. He came with their complaint before the place, said before him, Master of the universe, will 24,000 men of Israel fall for these? As it is said, and those who died in the plague were 24,000. And then after he kills them, Cosbi and Zimri, he prays and begs that the plague will stop. Where is Moses? That speaks later. Part 9. Resistance to Phinehas and protection from above. Rabbi Elazar said, he fell, is not said, but, he rose, teaching that he essentially made pleadings with his Creator. Pleadings is a type of war, a dispute, like a criminal offense. The ministering angels wanted to push him, he said to them, let him be. He is a zealot son of a zealot, a turner of wrath son of a turner of wrath. He was a zealot son of a zealot, as he was a descendant of Levi who was zealous for Dinah his sister. He is a turner of wrath son of a turner of wrath, a grandson of Aaron the priest who, when there was a plague in the people, saved the people of Israel. The tribes began to despise him. Did you see this son of Pudi, whose mother's father fattened calves for idol worship, and he killed a tribe president from Israel? He is a descendant of Jethro, he comes to teach us morals. How to behave. It is written, and Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, rose up, the Holy One, blessed be he, said to Moses, anticipate him with peace, as it is said. Therefore, say, behold, I give to him my covenant of peace, this atonement is worthy that it will be atoning and continue forever. Essentially, Phinehas goes with self-sacrifice, goes to be killed. He knew that his chance to be saved was zero, but he does not make calculations. When a person goes with such self-sacrifice, in the end, at the moment of truth, 6 miracles were performed for him. The Holy One, blessed be he, saved him, and this salvation saved the entire people of Israel, not only then, for generations. He merited to do a great deed. Part 10. Material and spiritual self-sacrifice. The Sifat Emet says, the self-sacrifice of Phinehas is not only in the material sense but more than that in the spiritual sense. The Midrash says, by right he should take his reward. Now Phinehas did not merit until he killed Zimri, and thus he became a priest, as it is written, who preceded me that I should repay, only by giving his soul, self-sacrifice, was he even able to precede me. Good, one needs to understand this. I will continue, but further on, and he repaid Phinehas measure for measure. By giving his soul to die, he merited to be alive forever. We say about Elijah, there are generations, 12 saw Elijah, Phinehas is Elijah, 12 generations between Phinehas and Elijah, and by giving also the priesthood, as it is found in the Holy Zohar, he who kills a soul is unfit for the priesthood. The Holy Zohar says that a person who killed a soul is unfit for the priesthood. It turns out that Phinehas knew that he would lose the priesthood by this. That is to say, Phinehas knows that the price he is going to pay is not only a material price, it is a spiritual price. He loses the priesthood, he will not receive spiritual levels. Even so, he fought the war of God to sanctify heaven and to atone for the children of Israel. Therefore, the priesthood was given to him. Rabbi Svi used to use the expression, self-sacrifice, and he would say, the self-sacrifice that we can use, body self-sacrifice, is when a person sacrifices their soul and gives their body. Self-sacrifice has a spiritual meaning, that a person is willing to sacrifice their spiritual life for a goal they believe in. And Phinehas here is willing to sacrifice the spiritual level he was looking forward to. He looked forward to being a priest. He knows that at that moment he will not be a priest, and even so he understands that he needs to find the soul. And when he sacrifices the soul, his spiritual levels, for the sake of the people of Israel, then he truly merits the priesthood. Part 11. Reincarnations and great figures of the generation. I want to ask, how can it be that a tribe president does this act? Not good. You know what, I always have doubt about following people, so first of all there is indeed in ancient generations and also today, right, always a side of caution, not simple, the sages, the Kabbalists, the calculations they make from our weekly parasha, they will not be clear. The sages say, the Kabbalists say that Rabbi Akiva is a reincarnation of Zimri, and the 24,000 disciples of Rabbi Akiva are a reincarnation of the 24,000 who died here. Whole calculations from Kabbalah, yes. The sages say like this, Kabbalists say, there are internal divine calculations here. And this Zimri, much is said about him, and soon we will also deal here with this matter of Zimri, but there is definitely a statement here, as in the sin of the spies where the great ones sinned and in the children. Simha writes in his generation during the Holocaust that the shell of the spies is found in every generation among the great of the generation. Very severe things about the great of his generation who said not to go up to the land, he wrote sharp things. Also regarding this matter, there is a complex reality of people who sin. Little me, how do I look at the world? So right, how do I write and say no, I am. I hear, so Moses our teacher is the Zimri son of Salu of our teacher, that is to say, yes one must distinguish between the great of Israel who have always been men of God, that is to say, we have names of greats, that is something else, and thank God we hope that we will never be tempted, but this is a part of the great of the world and truly to follow great people is a task. Zimri was not Moses and Aaron, there is still right, still a tribe president and one needs to understand also what his calculation was, also he had spiritual and other calculations, there are calculations written about them, the numbers from the spies were, right, that's why I said there is such a thing that we have a point that is not clarified. The rabbi does not believe in great things, it puts me in doubt even regarding great generals, I have no. Right, so we know that King David, the sages say, whoever says David sinned is nothing but mistaken. Together with that the sages say that King David sinned, he says and they calculate with him, so Rabbi Shmuel Eliyahu asked me a week ago, I met with Rabbi Shmuel a week ago, he said, would we say today to King David, I said to him, today, not only to a rabbi are we not ready to allow such a thing, but almost to any public figure who would have such an event, there are things that are unbearable, and I don't know for everything to say what is right what is not right, truly there are things that we in the public sphere do not let pass, certainly not the rabbis, not ready to accept it that someone will say, sorry there are mistakes, which are from our perspective not transgressions everywhere, so well, I don't know, but we are already not in the introduction to the lesson, we have started, but there is no question, we ask the question. Part 12. Unusual phenomena and the attribute of heroism. Right, no, but I think the deep understanding in all kinds of calculations also like Zimri son of Salu, one needs to remember that Zimri son of Salu is not a phenomenon of one Zimri, there is such an expression in the sages, one was publicized, written, that is to say, there is such a thing, but it must not mess us up, that is to say, it is forbidden to call to see a phenomenon of some rabbi, the rabbis are like this and he is a zealot in other cases, one needs to know that usually the phenomena are unusual in all styles and sectors. And therefore it is forbidden to say there is no situation in the world that said that he is not that we hear about the problems, but not because of this to infer from the unusual case on the general and say, wow, the innocence of ours must be preserved, right, it is a warning, but in the way of the majority, they are paying in good. Good, says our Rabbi the Miri, says thus, and behold, in what attribute Phinehas excelled when he came and saved the entire Israel from all the day, heaven forbid. It is explained, written that the attribute of heroism, and this is what the writing told later on the Israelite man who was executed, who executed the Midianite woman Zimri son of Salu from the house of Simeon and did not fear the tribe of Simeon, and the name of the woman executed the Midianite Cosbi daughter of Zur, head of the nations of her house in Midian. The Torah wrote a whole verse just to announce the attribute of heroism of Phinehas, that his heart did not soften to stir up a fight with the Gentiles, and in a place where the law was hidden from all and they were weeping, behold, if Phinehas had the attribute of cowardice, surely his mind would have been confused and it would have been hidden from him also, he would also have forgotten, the law was hidden from him at that moment, the door knocks, he doesn't know what to do. But the Holy One, blessed be he, wanted to publicize the attribute of heroism of Phinehas, therefore the law was hidden from them and the attribute of his heroism was publicized, Phinehas in his zeal for the zeal of God. And it is worth contemplating how much a person must educate themselves in the attribute of heroism, as if Phinehas had the attribute of cowardice, the entire Israel would have been, heaven forbid. This is what he said, the lesson, said to know how to appreciate heroism, to appreciate courage, to know that courage is a very strong trait. Yesterday was the year since the murder of Shalom Zivoloni, may his name be avenged, that terrorists murdered him at the entrance to Rami Levy. These terrorists drove in the parking lot of Rami Levy for 40 minutes, and looked for parking, found him and murdered him, took his weapon and shot him. At that time, Rabbi Shat was at the register of Rami Levi, of the yeshiva, strength. He heard a gunshot, he ran outside and in a second eliminated the 2 terrorists. These terrorists could have run with this weapon into Rami Levi, which was packed, and the hero Rabbi Shas from Tico, in a second ran outside and eliminated the 2 terrorists, accurate. This is to take for ourselves what is heroism, that there are such moments in life that it is a commandment to overcome. The son of Mrs. Myron, who once sat on the balcony of the house and it seemed to him that he was some terrorist approaching, entered the house, took the weapon and merited to eliminate him. This is also my son-in-law, or thank God, his secret, wow. Part 13. Love of God is an engine for zeal. The root of zeal says the Mesalit Yesharim, the internal root is the love of God, and says thus, the third branch is zeal, that a person will be zealous for his holy name. We spoke about the traits of the soul with which they act, but there is the internal engine, and the internal engine is the love of God, hating his haters and trying to subdue them in what one can, so that his work, may he be blessed, will be for the praise of his honor being multiplied. And this is what King David, peace be upon him, said, do I not hate those who hate you, O Lord, and I fight with those who rise up against you. I hate them with the ultimate hatred, and so on. And Elijah said, I have been very zealous for the Lord God of hosts, and we already saw why he merited for his zeal, as the writing said, because he was zealous for his God and atoned for the children of Israel. And in the Talmudic debate, regarding one who has in his hand to protest and does not protest, and his judgment was decreed to be destroyed for the sin of the sinners themselves. There are situations where when a person is silent and does not react, then this itself is very severe. There are situations where a person must react and react in a sharp way, and sometimes it is a reaction, it is itself a severe transgression. On the day I enlisted in the IDF, they took me to some base in the south, and a whole bus had a video movie like that on the bus, a truly repulsive movie, repulsive. I am sitting inside the bus, 2 thoughts. 1 thought, a repulsive movie. 2nd thought, that if I also don't react, what will they say about me, what? And then I go forward and say to the commanders there, excuse me, there is here, I was not a child, I was married, I was older than these commanders, still I was a rookie of a day, to them, excuse me, there are religious soldiers here on the bus, this movie is repulsive. So he said to him, that they should be ashamed, they told him, driver change the movie. That the driver changes the movie, shouting arose on the bus, what is happening here? Religious coercion, what is this? So one of the commanders gave a shout, guys, shut up, if you don't know how to respect each other we won't have an army. They put on a less repulsive movie, but later I asked one of the friends who was there, I don't know, so he told me the truth, I didn't pay attention, I raised an eyebrow, it could be that he didn't pay attention, this is on the angelic level because no. Part 14. Love of God and the slap on the cheek. But the sages use here in the Midrash an expression so sharp, and in the Midrash, how did they say? They were like soldiers. What are these soldiers during the time of war? Turn their faces one under the other, so were the great of Israel seeing a matter of transgression and turning their faces from it. That seeing a transgression they say, leave it, it's better not to see. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to him, the hour will come and I will do to them the same, that when they shout to me we need salvation, I will turn my head as if I don't hear them. And this is simple, says the Ramchal, what is the root point of the zeal? Because whoever loves his friend, it is impossible for him to suffer to see someone hitting his friend, insulting him, and surely he will go to his aid. It cannot be that you see someone giving a slap to your friend and going and you are silent, cannot. Also whoever loves his name, may he be blessed, will not be able to suffer and see that they will profane him, heaven forbid, and that they will transgress his commandments, because this is the force of love, that one will be able to show who truly loves him, and says, overs of the Lord hate evil, truly a mental trait of reaction, of heat, of caring. A month ago I was at the funeral of Rabbi Edelstein and one Jew stood there, eulogized him, and he told that he heard from Rabbi Sternbuch. Rabbi Sternbuch is the head of the court of the Haredi community, 103 without the evil eye, and he is something like that, and he heard from Rabbi Shach. Rabbi Shach was one of the great of the previous generation, and he told that Rabbi Kook met him during the World War, at a train station in Berlin, and Rabbi Kook asked him, spoke with him a few sentences. Rabbi Kook saw that he was an immense Torah scholar, so the rabbi meets him. "What are you doing here?" He said to him, "I am a refugee." "What do you live from?" He says to him, "No, I don't know." Rabbi Cook took off a gold watch he had and gave it to him, and he said that this gold watch saved him for months. He had something for his family to eat thanks to Rabbi Cook. Where did Rabbi Cook have a gold watch? Rabbi Cook was in a vacation town and there was some event there. I don't remember it exactly, and this rich man insulted some Torah scholar, so Rabbi Cook approached this rich man, gave him a slap on the cheek. And not only that, he gave him a slap on the cheek, even if his watch broke from the event, the rich man merited later Rabbi Cook a gold watch. But who dares to come to give people a slap in public? In public, yes, a slap also salvation, and this is Rabbi Cook who is all love and soul claims. And there are situations where it is forbidden. When Rabbi Baba Sali moved to Netivot, he was in some other city larger than Netivot. One day a rabbi was heard who spoke in a disrespectful way about the Baal Shem Tov, But Sali that same day called the head of the council, needs to be Netivot. He pressured him, mistake, told him, today I am moving. Good, took the things, said, I am not staying there, in one day. The reaction, the protest, sometimes there is no second, there is no afterwards. So it is true that this is indeed complex. One needs huge heavenly help to know how to aim at the point of truth, but when there are such moments that it is a huge merit to stand at this moment and be the right man who gives a sharp reaction. Part 15. The Or HaChaim HaKadosh and the end of the parasha. I want to touch on 2 points for the finish, and we will try to contain the name earlier. This is also from my sister, because otherwise we are late. 1 point in the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, that yesterday was his day of the asterisk Halula. On the verse end of the parasha, the Torah reveals to us, by the way, I wanted to tell you something. What did I want to tell? Verse 11, the Israelite man executed, who strikes the Midianite woman Zimri son of Salu tribe head. The name of the woman executed Midianite Cosbi daughter of Zur, head of the nations of her house in Midian. That is to say, the whole story of the Torah about that there was a story of Zimri that we spoke about does not appear in the Torah as Zimri. What is written in the Torah? And behold, an Israelite man came. Why not say, behold came Zimri son of Salu? Why wait for the end of the story? Says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, difficult, from what side, if the Lord wanted to reveal deep things, he should have mentioned her during the action. He says so, indeed, behold the Lord, blessed be he, does not want to disparage even the wicked to announce who are the masters of the repulsive matters. He is hard pressed to prove that they don't say his name only at the end. The Torah wants to say, wow, know who he struck, this is to praise Phinehas. But more than that, I want to touch on the next point. Look at source 9, it was further explained on this path based on what was written to us from the words of the Kabbalists, that no outcast will be cast away from him, no outcast will be cast away from all the sparks of holiness and everyone, and in the end they will merit the place from where they came. That is to say, every Israelite man in the end will reach his connection to holiness, nothing will help, all the transgressions on the way are obstacles, these are rounds, in the end everyone will reach the place from where they came. And even if an Israelite man will perform, even if he will cry out his soul, even if he will go through many complex things, in the very end they will return to his lesson. And it is said in the name of an Israelite man, that even after the action, he will be called by the name of Israel. That is to say, the Torah writes a whole verse just to tell us, by the name of an Israelite man he is called. Israelite man, know that he will be called by the name of Israel, nothing will help, that you said he was not uprooted from his root. Part 16. The generation of entering the land and the daughters of Zelophehad. In the last point, the Sifat Emet takes 5 parashot that appear in our parasha, War of Midian, and the parasha of the request of Moses our teacher, the new census of the people of Israel, the parasha of Moses, the request of Moses our teacher to appoint a leader for the people of Israel, daughters of Zelophehad who ask for an inheritance. And he says these 4 parashot are a direct continuation of the zeal of Phinehas. And why? Because as they already asked here several times, why did Moses our teacher do nothing? How will they give Moses law from Moses our teacher? Says Sifat Emet, we are in the generation of entering the land. Until now they had leadership that was above nature, a level of Moses our teacher that was above nature. We spoke about Israel in the parasha of the spirit of the generation that enters the land as another generation, and this is a generation of oral Torah. This is a generation that needs to act the Torah from itself, from its strength. And therefore, as Phinehas came and revealed the Torah that burns inside him, not because they told him, he saw in action and remembered the law, and he revealed that the Torah is inside him. You need to hate and despise them, and thus go out to war, so a new leader is needed for the people of Israel who knows how to go according to the new Torah. A new census is needed for the people of Israel that belongs to the new leader, and we need the daughters of Zelophehad to come and say, we want a part in the land. And the Holy One, blessed be he, says to them, to the daughters of Zelophehad, he brings here a verse, look at the last source. Yes, the daughters of Zelophehad are speaking, that ostensibly is unnecessary, for the Father says you shall give them. Moses, our teacher, knows their judgment, should have said, give them an inheritance, they deserve it. The Holy One, blessed be he, says, yes, the daughters of Zelophehad are speaking. Explanation says Safat Emet, they merit an inheritance in the land because they demanded it, because they claimed it. This generation is a generation that according to what it will claim, according to what it will long for, this is what it will have, only to announce that by their speech it is done so. So we said 5 parashot in our parasha, says Safat Emet, all the next parashot in the next parasha, sons of Joseph speaking, we need an inheritance, he said to them, go to the forest, cut down trees, and sons of Reuben, we want an inheritance, they received them. All the parasha of vows, start of parasha Matot, the Torah describes it on a woman who vows a vow. What is the idea of this whole parasha? There is an ability for a person to define boundaries of holiness for himself. Essentially all the parashot, we showed this already from Chukot, the whole story of Phinehas, all the parashot from here and on, this is the generation of the 40th year. This means that our statement, what was said, where we will reach from a spiritual perspective, and therefore we need to be with a claim. We want a part in the land, and the daughters of Zelophehad who longed for it merited it. Part 17, Completion and Hope. The last consolation, how old were the daughters of Zelophehad when they got married? What? The sages say that everyone past the age of 40, to teach us that there is no despair, there is hope to hope with the help of God in the end, that everyone merits salvation. So the daughters of Zelophehad are the continuation, these righteous women merited salvation. May we merit with the help of God, the strength of people who have a special strength in the conquest of the land, in the conquest of Hebron, may we merit the complete and close redemption.